Welcome to the first episode of Lights, Camera, Action with Jay Lee. I am Jay Lee, and this week's episode is going to be about... Yes, the top 10 movies of 2012, or at least movies I have seen. So let's get started. In number 10 we have Prometheus. Now, Prometheus was the prequel to the Alien franchise. I have to say I didn't like Prometheus that much, but it deserved to get number 10 for it was an alien movie. I couldn't tell it was an alien movie till the end where the xenomorph came out of the godlike person, and my friend explained it. But I also liked how Michael Fassbender was in it. He played Magneto in X-Men First Class, which I thought was a good movie, so that's why it gets number 10. In number 9, we have Chronicle. Now, Chronicle was a pretty good movie, I would say, for 2012. The fact that the kid was actually filming the whole time was pretty good. But that's also why it's number 9. I think movies now are coming out too much like that. We have Cloverfield, where it's all taken by camera, and then there's also the Paranormal Activities. I have never liked the Paranormal Activity, so that's why Chronicle gets number 9. Also, who doesn't want superpowers like that? If you could fly and control things with your mind, I think that'd be pretty cool. In number 8, we have The Hobbit. Now, The Hobbit was a recently released film, only coming out about a week or two ago, and I loved it. Now, it is the prequel to the Lord of the Rings series, so I'm guessing 2012 thought, prequels, yeah. Well, I read the books, and I think the books were great, and when I read The Hobbit, I could definitely follow along the trail in the movie. And when the mountains came to life, I actually loved that. The reason that it is in number 8 is because it is a prequel, and that the other 2 parts aren't coming out for year intervals, so that's why it's here number 8. Here in 7th place we have Ted. Now, Ted was created by Seth MacFarlane, who is also the creator of Family Guy, American Dad, and The Cleveland Show. Now, Ted was a generally great movie. I would say it was great. Very inappropriate, but great. With the use of Mila Kunis and Mark Wahlberg, those two created a great combination and a loving pair. And Ted, even though it was funny, it did have its touching side. I did feel a little sad when Ted was falling in half at the baseball field. Now, the reason that Ted is in 7th place is it was very inappropriate, and not all audience members could view it unless you got your parents to get you in. But number 7, it's a good spot for Ted. In 6th place, we have Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. Now, I just recently saw this when I was at my aunt's house, and I loved the movie. Thank you to my cousin. Now, what I like about Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter was the action. The whole train on fire thing was quite awesome. But what I really liked about Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter was its historical aspects, which related to that makes me think of Assassin's Creed 3. I recently got that, and I'd say the action that Abraham Lincoln has with the axe reminds me of what you do in Assassin's Creed 3 when you wield that giant axe. It just reminds me of that. The historical aspects is what puts it here in number 6. For all those movies that did make it into the top 10, not all of them could. Here are 3 that didn't. Hotel Transylvania, Project X, and Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance. Now, Hotel Transylvania was a good movie overall, not worthy of breaking the top 10, but it was a good movie. The reason is because it was animated. I'm not a big fan of animated movies. Now, there were some great voice actors in it. Adam Sandler, David Spade, even CeeLo Green. And I was really surprised to find out that Selena Gomez was in it. Now, Project X, the whole camera thing. I do not like watching people trying to film. I'd rather have a professional cameraman trying to capture the full-length scene. Now, we get to Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance. Compared to the old Ghost Rider that came out a few years ago, it does not relate that well. One, how did he get to Europe or wherever they are? And I did think it was cool how he transformed that giant, mining machine, but definitely not worthy of breaking the top 10. Now, here at number 5, we have probably one of the most shocking to me. We have the Hunger Games. Okay, yes, I know, it's the Hunger Games. Ooh, Hunger Games. Peeta, Gale, I don't even know who they are. So, I haven't read the actual books, but when I was at a cast party, I saw it there, and I actually liked the film. Now, it had some pretty good scenes, and I actually got captured in them. Now, one things that I did like, I liked how Woody Harrelson was in it. I haven't really seen much of him. I saw him in Friends with Benefits, and then also back in Zombieland. Those were probably the only films I've seen him in, and I was actually pretty happy to see him in this movie. Now, Josh Hutcherson, on the other hand, I think his career has gone downhill ever since Bridge to Terabithia and Zathura. I liked him back when he was younger. Now that he's older, I really don't like him as much. But I think the story was captured, and I might actually get inspired to read the actual books. In 4th place, we have 21 Jump Street. Now, this comedic film stars Jonah Hill and Channing Tatum, whose high school lives end up switching as they join the 21 Jump Street program. Now, I love this movie. It was very funny, and it kept me laughing throughout. The one reason it made it to number 4 is how quotable it is. My favorite quote is during the party where Jonah Hill is turned around, and he sees a knife in his back, and he's like, "When did I get stabbed? That's awesome!" And I just love that. Alright guys, we've made it here to number 3. Here in 3rd place, we have The Amazing Spider-Man. Now, I am glad to see that Spidey is back. Andrew Garfield did a great portrayal of Spider-Man and Peter Parker. Though I think Peter Parker was a lot cooler in this one compared to the Tobey Maguire Peter Parker in Spider-Man, but I think it was very great. And then the main female, Emma Stone, as Gwen Stacy, I think she did a very good job, though she didn't have much part. I think she did a great job and was a lot better than the Gwen Stacy in Spider-Man 3. Now, I like the new story. I talked to someone recently who says, "Oh, it's not the old story. It's not the same." This is a whole brand new story, yes, but I like it a lot better than the old one. Alright, we're here at number 2. Now, number 2 was a very hard decision. I had to think of all the movies that I've seen this year, and definitely this one was very hard pick. But number 2, we have The Avengers. Now, I picked The Avengers here for number 2 only because I am a big Marvel buff, and I love the film. Now, this film had a great array of actors and characters. With the actors, we have people like Robert Downey Jr., Scarlett Johansson, and Samuel L. Jackson, who all portray very great characters, like Iron Man, Black Widow, and Director Fury. But we cannot forget the rest of the team. We have Captain America, Hawkeye, The Incredible Hulk, and Thor. I just loved that movie so much, and I think it was very quotable, just like 21 Jump Street. My favorite is Hulk after smashing Loki into the floor like 15 times. Puny God. That was just my favorite, and I love the action of the film. Who doesn't love action in a film? Alright guys, we've made it here to number 1. Now, what movie could take the number 1 spot? None other than The Dark Knight Rises. You see, Batman holds a special place in my heart, and I think this movie deserves this spot. Christopher Nolan did a great job directing it, and I think Christian Bale has portrayed the Batman very well. Now, Anne Hathaway did play a very good Catwoman, much better than Halle Berry. That movie wasn't very good. Now, what I loved about The Dark Knight Rises was all the twists. Bane, played by Tom Hardy, wasn't actually the main villain. It was actually Talia al Ghul. who is the daughter of Ra's al Ghul, which I loved seeing Liam Neeson again as Ra's, but I wish he had a bigger part. Now, the Batman series did obviously rock my world, and I think this is why it belongs in spot number 1. Alright guys, that has been the top 10 movies of 2012. Post in the comments below on what you think should have made it, or what shouldn't have, or what movies I should watch. Tune in next week for my next episode. This has been Lights, Camera, Action with Jay Lee. Thanks for watching.